Central Fulfilling County, we have one shot in the left arm. We have another gunshot wound to the chest.
3 breaking stories. NBC2 News at noon is following 2 shootings, including a deadly one that has taken 2 lives at Bell Tower Shops in Lee County.
We have just learned the names of the victims within the last 90 minutes. The deceased identified as 56-year-old Kevin Robinson and 22-year-old Javarcia Riggins. 2 others were also hurt at Bell Tower. We are also today at noon monitoring Hurricane Michael, a clearly defined eye wall barreling right now toward Florida's Panhandle. The NBC2 team is spread out today, giving you live coverage of both important events. We begin with NBC2's Dave Elias, who just wrapped up an exclusive interview with Lee County's new sheriff, Carmine Marcino.
Yeah, Chad, Sheriff Carmine Marcino now confirming for me exclusively that it was a family who was celebrating dinner here last night at TGI Friday when shots rang out in this parking lot. The sheriff telling me this is still a very active crime scene. He can't say for sure if the murders here at Bell Tower are related to any others.
A mother was having a birthday dinner at TGI Fridays. After that dinner, at some point in time, they exited to go to their vehicles in the parking lot of Bell Tower Shops, at which time shots were fired.
The father and son shot dead. The wife and mother escaped the bullets.
This was not a random act of violence. This was a targeted event.
Do you believe there were 3 targets in this or perhaps 1?
This was a targeted event. Unfortunately, 3 different people were shot, but at this point in time, I don't know the details if one person was a target or not.
Another shooting near Franklin Park Elementary this morning sent 1 person to the hospital. Do you believe all of these incidents could have been related?
But right now, we have no facts that will determine they are together as one or related. But we are working with them every step of the way, as we always do.
Now we're back here live, and the sheriff telling me the Bell Tower Shops will reopen today. He says because this is a targeted shooting, he believes this area is safe, and as you can see, this is still a very active crime scene. He expects deputies to remain on scene for several more hours yet. We're live in Lee County this noon. Dave Elias, NBC2.
This is the worst storm that the Florida Panhandle has seen in more than 100 years. Again, this is the worst storm that our Florida Panhandle has seen in a century. Hurricane Michael is upon us, and now is the time to seek refuge.
Governor Rick Scott holding a press briefing just a few hours ago.
The governor saying he is just focused on Floridians surviving this monster of a storm and staying safe. NBC2 First Alert meteorologist Matt Gray is looking inside the eye wall of Michael. What really stands out to you now as we get into the noon hour?
What really stands out is just simply how strong it looks. I mean, it really looks the part. This is the latest satellite image of Michael. We got a new update now as we get closer to landfall. The updates from the Hurricane Center are going to become more and more frequent. And this was actually just released about 10 minutes ago to us. 150-mile-an-hour winds. Folks, the break point for Cat 5 is 157. We are not that far out, and we still have some time before landfall. Now, we'll see what happens, but really, the category almost doesn't matter at this point. It's the fact that this is just going to be really devastating wind that comes in the core of this system, which is about 40 miles beyond the eye of Hurricane Michael, moving to the north-northeast at about 14 miles per hour. This is going to be a hurricane for a long time. We're talking about a Cat 2 in Georgia, not something that you would think about. This is going to be moving fast enough and staying strong enough that it'll stay a tropical storm, will likely go back out to sea after it crosses the southeastern U.S. as a tropical storm. That's how fast it's going to begin to start moving. I've been tracking the eye of the storm using live radar here and just looped it over the past 3 hours to try and figure out exactly where it's headed. And it looks like within the next couple of hours, the kind of outer edge of the eye. So the eye wall got to get there before that, and the strongest, most destructive winds. But the eye got to be ending up somewhere around between Mexico Beach and Panama City. That looks like where the windfall or where the landfall is going to be. That blue dot is where Chief Meteorologist Allison Ray is right now in Panama City. Allison, how are things looking? The core of the winds aren't that far out.
inside. And just to give you some assurance here, we are not driving in First Alert Storm Tracker. We are parked in the parking lot. Actually, let's take a look. We can with our camera. We have 4 cameras on the truck, and we can pan around and you see those light poles doing a justice. We have 150 miles per hour, and we are yet to see what this storm has in store for this region. So we've already seen this start to pick up, and also with First Alert Storm Tracker, we can track the pressure here. Take a look. It is at 985 or 984 even. That gives us a good indication that that pressure, that low pressure, is on its way. This could be the lowest pressure since Katrina to make landfall, so we know how big this storm is. This is one thing we are tracking also is the winds, and it's all about the winds until that storm water and the tide starts to get into our region. We've seen northerly winds, northeasterly winds. I just checked the stats, up to 50-mile-per-hour gust here in Panama City. But that northeasterly wind is everything that it's about. That's an offshore wind. Different story in Apalachicola. They've had gusts up to 60. We still haven't even had landfall yet, so we know that those winds are going to get stronger. But here's the thing. Apalachicola, they've had a southeasterly wind, and with the shape of the coastline, that is going to increase the flooding threat for that region. Here in Panama City, I'm very concerned about the wind damage and the catastrophic wind damage, the rain potential. But as you head east of Mexico City or Mexico Beach, that is what I'm very concerned about, the amount of water that they will see in that region. We are going to wrap it up here. And like Christina mentioned, we did lose power in our hotel. We'll see if we get it back. They have some emergency lights on, but we are going to seek shelter, and we will continue to give you reports on this devastating and historic storm to hit the Panhandle, the strongest in one of the strongest in our state's history. Live from Panama City, I'm NBC2 Chief Meteorologist Allison Ray.
12:06 in the Alert Center. Yeah, you saw the connection with Allison was pretty difficult. That's because she's in Panama City, right where the hurricane is really bad right now. And I've seen that in all these live feeds. They just keep going down. But one that we do have, if we could take Sat 26 right now, this is really the only feed that's up right now. It's from Watersound Beach. It's right near Seacrest, Florida, right up on the Panhandle. And you can see that the waves are very, very severe right now. They've been increasing over the past hour, and we will continue to monitor it in the Alert Center.
All right, Nate, thank you. And team coverage on Hurricane Michael will continue on NBC2 News at noon. In less than 15 minutes, we're going to hear from guests at a hotel who have taken shelter in Panama City from the hurricane.
Fort Myers police surround the scene of an early morning shooting, sending one person to the hospital. Police have been on scene of Thomas Street between Henderson Avenue and Davis Street for more than 8 hours now. Just getting in some breaking news on this story. The scene is also on the backside of Franklin Park Elementary. We heard Dave Elias mention this briefly during his live hit. NBC2's Jesse Pagan is live at noon with the latest. Jesse.
And Chad, as Allison was reporting from the Panhandle, the last Fort Myers police officer left from Thomas Street. You can see now it's all clear where officers and detectives had been for about close to 9 hours this morning at this point. Take a look at this. Police were in this neighborhood since about 4 this morning. They say a man was shot right on Thomas Street on a house here 5 houses down from where we are. A group of people showed up to the scene just before 7, saying they were relatives of the man. Only we were at Lee Memorial Hospital when an ambulance followed by police drove that man into the emergency room. Fort Myers police tells us that man was in surgery this morning. We're working to find out an update on his condition at this point, but we do know that he was the man that was shot here. Now, despite this being just a street behind Franklin Park Elementary, the school district tells us that Franklin Park is having a normal school day today. As soon as we can confirm any other information and who that man was, what exactly happened here on Thomas Street, we'll bring that to you. We're live in Dunbar. I'm Jesse Pagan, NBC2.
Jesse, thank you. Business is obviously closing in the wake of Hurricane Michael. The role Waffle House is playing through the eye of the storm.
And the boating forecast, even here in Southwest Florida, remains hazardous because of the influence of Hurricane Michael. We are going to show you some major wave heights bearing down on the Florida Panhandle.